What if they die? How will I feel? What will occur? What didn't I say? What do I still need to say that they haven't heard about me, damn it? There's all these different things that we struggle with when we come to estranged relationships.
Did you push record?
Thank you so much for tuning into our second act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life. Hey, Silka.
Hi, Paige. How's it going?
Pretty good. And you, my dear?
Good. I'm excited to be continuing our relationship series today on a topic that, as usual, you point out because you go through this with your clients so much. We've talked a lot about building relationships, finding love again after 50, maybe saving a marriage or rekindling a long-term relationship. What we haven't talked about and what so many people won't talk about is the estrangement that we find in lots of our relationships. Why is that so prevalent after 50? Is it just because we're older?
So, it's an area that people don't talk about a lot. Being estranged from your sibling, being estranged from a family member, from your family of origin. And of course, it's going to affect us more after we get 50 because we contemplate things more. We look at ourselves more. We look at life more. We look at life differently. We look at, I don't maybe have as many friends, or maybe people have started to die off, literally, or they've moved away, or their life has gotten so busy, there's more loneliness sometimes, and you're wanting to connect and long with people who get you, or you think get you. So when you've had an estranged relationship from a family member, you start to think about these things like, what happened? Or how do I even step back into having a relationship? Because where do I begin? It's been so long and so deep and so wide.
Well, and as you said, as we get older, we are dealing with our mortality to where these sorts of issues do become, or do come to the surface again and become more important in our lives.
Right. And, mortality of friendships, mortality of relationships, mortality of intimacy. And we do kind of grapple and, strapple with, where am I with this friendship? Where am I with my sibling? Where am I with my parent? Why is this not working? What if they die? How will I feel? What will occur? What didn't I say? What do I still need to say that they haven't heard about me, damn it? There's all these different things that we struggle with when we come to estranged relationships. And let's face it, for those who have kids, there's many parents out there in our population, our age population, that are estranged from their adult kids, and it hurts them. And I have so many clients that say, what do I do? How do I do this? I don't know where we went wrong. My daughter won't listen to me, or my son really doesn't want to do anything with me. And I think I might have pissed them off at one point, or I don't know what to do, or I haven't shared. There's all these complexities when you deal with estrangement in relationships.
Well, and for those viewers who are listening now who, this is happening in their lives, Paige, why is it important that they deal with it? Or is it?
I think it's individual for each person because everybody's on their different journey with the estrangement. Sometimes people, when they're estranged, they're going to go through a roller coaster of emotions, up, down, so many different complexities with that. And maybe they come to peace with, you know what, I'm okay. If we end up being close again, great. If not, I'm okay with that too. Or other people are, this sucks. I'm horrible with this. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to reach out. What if they reject me? What if they want to come back down on me again? Or, and they go back to the place of years and years ago when something might have happened, and they're fearful of, is the same thing going to happen again? Is the person not going to listen to me, respect me, honor me? There's all these complexities. So you really have to look within yourself to say, is this worth it for me? Do I really want to have this relationship again? What can I compromise about the relationship for myself? And what will I not compromise about? Or maybe you didn't get a chance to voice what you really have wanted to voice, and now you've been working on yourself more and you have some more strength, and there's things you want to say now. So each person is going to come at this in a different way, but it weighs heavier the older that we get.
I think it does. But interesting Interestingly enough, though, what I think I'm hearing you say is that if you're estranged from somebody close, a family member, maybe even your child, you don't necessarily have to fix it.
No, you have to really decide what works for you, what's going to be for your highest good. Um, if you're plagued with these emotions that are really haunting you, pay attention to that because there's some message within that. But if you've really found peace and you've done everything that you believe you could do in this relationship and it's done, just remember relationships come for reasons, seasons, lifetimes, moments, hours, or seconds. There's no storyline, there's no in the box of how relationships are supposed to be in this lifetime.
Well, I know that, people that I know who have the sort of estrangement in their family, there's a certain guilt or shame associated with it. You almost don't want to admit that you're estranged from your child, from your sister, from your brother, whatever. Uh, are you saying that that guilt is, if you're feeling that guilt, that perhaps that's telling you that you need to deal with something, or that forget about the guilt, you shouldn't be feeling the guilt?
Again, you have to look at where's that guilt coming from? Are there things that you didn't get to say or do that you would like to? And remember, when you have an estranged relationship, sometimes it's something that you have to say or you have to do, and it doesn't matter how the other person responds. Once you do or say or write or email whatever you need to, and then you let it go, it's not so much about how they respond, but it's about your personal journey. And one other thing too, I I deal with this constantly with people. And when you think about life, families, and relationships, the concept of all of this is man-made, right? You look at commercials, holidays, you're supposed to have this tight-knit relationship. You're supposed to have this. Well, who created that? So remember that each individual person has an individual journey, that there's no right, that there's no wrong, but do no harm to yourself or others while you're going through this.
Good point. Great point. Well, one thing that I kind of want to throw out, what comes up when we're talking about this page, is that I have a friend who went through a horrible time with her daughter and has done everything possible to try to fix the situation. But yes, they're totally estranged now. And I just want to say, at some point, you just have to give up.
Yeah, and I think I would reword it differently. I would say at some point, embrace and accept that you've done everything that you can. And if you can, start to find peace with that and let that go. And, if you've been trying to do everything you can, say with a daughter or a sibling, and there's addiction involved, that's a whole different ballgame as well, too, which we didn't talk about. But sometimes you just have to say, I accept, I embrace, I did everything I can, and maybe this is just where it's supposed to be at this time in my life.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
So, Silka, there is no right way, there is no wrong way. You don't have to fix a relationship or be connected with someone. It's all personal, it's all individual as to what you want, where you are. If connecting with this person was healthy for you and that person can be healthy back and you can go in that direction, great. But if you're going into a place that's toxic and things haven't changed and it's not good for you, pay attention to that. There is no right or wrong, no shame, no guilt associated with this. It's all personal about where you are and what you want. So does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And, and again, at this point in our lives, we're 50 plus years into this. There's
Right.
bound to have been some sort of, certainly conflict, maybe not estrangement. But as you say, you're dealing with this on a regular basis, and we wanted to touch on this.
As we get older, too, some of us are grandparents. Some of us have children. You and I don't. But for those who have children and they're estranged, there is a grappling because let's just say you're in your 60s, 70s, and you're not working as much and your life doesn't feel fulfilled, but you have friends around you who say, oh, I'm going to see my grandkids, or, they're coming to spend the night, or I'm seeing my daughter, I'm seeing my son. That really starts to play. There's a psychological component to that where people step back and go, wow, should I be getting connected with them? Is that a loss for me? How come they have that and I don't have that? See, there's all these different things that go on after 50 that we experience at a much deeper, stronger and intense level.
Well, it's a tough subject, and
It's
I
complex.
yeah, I actually haven't dealt with that in my family. Not really. I'm trying to think. Obviously, not on a close level, but I have friends that have,
I
and for
have.
yeah, and for some reason, I just want to say that don't feel guilty about it. That, like you said, whatever is right for you is what's right for you. Does that make sense
Right.
too?
Yes, and if you want to test the waters, you test the waters, but always be connected to your inner knowing and wisdom of, one, why are you doing this? Two, what do you want from this? Three, if you're having an expectation from another person, that's not going to work. So really look at the reasons as to why you want to, become reunited again, possibly.
Well, on that note, Paige, thank you so much. We'll see you on the next segment of Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life.
Bye. Thanks for joining us. I hope you found this information helpful. If you haven't already done so, please just take 1 second and subscribe to our channel. Button's right over here. And for more information about living your life to the fullest after 50, visit our website, secondact.tv. See you soon.